Media and corporate elite have condemned the administration's announcement yesterday of suspending DACA. Boy, they really hate it. DACA, of course, is President Obama's program providing work permits to illegal aliens who arrived in this country as minors. Some of the strongest backlash is in tech. Microsoft has already announced it will fight as hard as possible to block the deportation of illegal immigrants hired at the expense of American citizens because, of course, Microsoft is now its own country, not just a company. Now, what drives all this anger? Mike Donovan is the CEO of Nexus Services, which provides bail bonds for illegal immigrants. Catherine Mangu-Ward is the editor-in-chief of Reason, the libertarian publication. Welcome to you both. So, Catherine, since you're a libertarian, let me ask you a philosophical question. Do we have an obligation to put the interests of American citizens ahead of the interests of immigrants?
No, I don't think so. And in particular, I think in this case, we don't
American
need to worry
citizens
about
don't
that.
Get priority.
In this case, I just don't buy at all that those things are in conflict.
Well, but I think it's fair to ask the question, though. In general, you don't think that American citizens ought to get meaningful priority over aliens?
I don't know what this means to say meaningful priority over aliens.
Well, I don't know.
Mean, American citizens benefit when people come here, work here, raise families here, and it is absolutely the case that these dreamers in particular are going to add to our economy, add to our culture, make America a better place. So we don't have to talk
none
about
of
the
that
trade-off.
is necessarily true. I mean, those are massive assumptions that in some cases are true, in some cases are false. But if you could determine in a specific case, if there's one job and you got a choice between someone who came here illegally and someone who's an American citizen, you wouldn't automatically go for the American citizen?
Well, I mean, I think you could ask similarly, do I favor protectionist policies, right? Do I think if a job could be here or a job could be in China, is it morally better for the job to be here? And I think the answer is no in that case, too.
Okay,
I mean,
good. Well, I vehemently disagree with you, but I want our viewers to know what your position is on that. So this is not an abstract question because there are a ton of unemployed Americans, almost 100 million, actually. Not all of them want to go to work, but I think we could all agree a lot more of them ought to be working than are. Why would we be issuing any work permits to anybody from outside the country until those people have jobs?
I think I have more faith in the American people maybe than folks who think that they need a hand up or a special place at the front of the line. I think Americans are exceptional. I think we produce exceptional people who can compete with folks that are coming into the country.
But they're unemployed right now, is what I'm saying.
Well,
why wouldn't we care about? I thought liberals would care about that.
And some folks, obviously, what is to say, should we favor people who are unemployed over people who currently have a job? I mean, I think that you get to a place where, when we're trying to create classes of people, that when we permit that to happen, that ultimately swings away from our favor.
It's really simple. We have a lot of people around the world who want to come here and work in the United States for a bunch of different reasons. We also have a bunch of American citizens who were born here who don't have jobs, who are not working. That's bad. Why would we give any work permits for people from other countries while we still have Americans who aren't working? I don't understand.
Well, I think that in this case, Tucker, we've already done it, right? So we have 800,000 kids who've only known this country who have these work authorizations, and we're talking about taking them away. And that's what you want to talk about, what drives my anger.
We're continuing.
We're
talking about continuing it. I mean, look, no one disputes. It's a tough question. I mean, I agree, and I don't want to oversimplify it.
And I know that you're a caring person, so I know that you have to feel for that.
It's not a question. Yeah, I actually care about Americans more than I care about illegal aliens. Call me crazy. Does that make me racist or something?
I won't call you crazy.
It makes me pro-American, and I just don't understand why nobody seems to care. So the idea that the more immigrants we have, the better off we are, if that's true, then why isn't California richer? California's poorer than it was 40 years ago before it was totally overwhelmed by immigration. Why is that?
Surely you know that the only thing happening in California in the last many decades was not immigration. Regulation has gone up there hugely. The entitlement state has gone up there massively.
Yeah,
but
because of immigration, by the way.
When we think about...
It swung the legislature to the left,
when we think about the dreamers in particular, we're talking about mostly Mexicans, right? 80% Mexican. We're talking about, say, 500,000 Mexicans who want to come here. They have lower rates of incarceration. They have higher rates of education. They contribute. They are the typical dreamer.
They don't have higher rates of education. That's not true. That's a silly statistic. That's not true.
They have to have a high school education to qualify for the program.
No, we're talking about DACA here. That's absolutely true. They have to.
What's more,
but in general, that's totally false.
What's more, it's also the case that, again, we're just talking about the dreamers here. There is an absolute, very, very clear situation here in which These people are the kind of immigrants that even people like you, who are essentially restrictionists, should like. They've already been assimilated.
I don't know.
We can skip
Some,
the part.
some not. Actually, they're individuals. I don't think I want to generalize like that. But really quickly, people are nervous because of chain immigration. You let one person in, and all of a sudden, all of his relatives come too. That's a real thing, by the way. What's an appropriate level of immigration into this country? Like, how many people should we let in?
I think, you know, call me crazy, but I believe in the American ideal that we are a place where people who are downtrodden, abused can come.
So
and find a way.
everybody wants to come? What's the limit?
I think that we have systems in place, systems that are broken, an asylum system, for example. We need to focus on fixing those things so we can determine who needs.
Okay, but how many people should we let in? I mean, it's not a hard question.
More than we let in right now.
Like how many?
I don't know. I don't know that
we could get to 1 billion people by the end of the century really easily.
Dude, if we had 1 billion people in America, America would be unstoppable with an extra 1 billion people. That would be amazing.
Well, think about the economy. Think about the driving force behind.
So
people.
You'll notice that our economy has become less impressive over the past 40 years, but the main thing that's happened is the massive change due to immigration, but you don't see any connection.
Do you really think it's even remotely possibly true that a bunch of people who came here, brought by their parents, median age 6 years old, who are now 22 years old and have jobs that earn
$800,000,
$18 an hour?
Right.
That's the problem with America?
I don't think that's the problem, but I think our broader immigration system doesn't serve America's interests.
But in this case,
I'm sorry, I'm being told we're out of time.
I understand.
Thank you.